It's another edition of First and 10 with Rams head football coach Brad Sherrod. I'm Jimmy the St. Christopher. Happy days are here again for the sixth straight week this year as the Rams go to 6-0 after a 76-19 demolishing of Nelson, formerly Sagu, the Lions from Waxahachie. Got off kind of a, well, I don't want to say ominous start, but the Rams fell behind 13-0 within the first 2 minutes. Two weird plays, weird being the fact that All-American Jason Price fumbled after a pretty good kickoff return, fumbled, and then a couple plays later, the Lions took it in for a score. And then the second kickoff at the 2-yard line, Price tried to patty cake it diagonally along the 2, and he lost the muff there. And another play after that, and it was 13-0, and there was a blocked extra point, but the Rams were behind 13-0 within the first 2 minutes. And Coach, you haven't seen that on Jason Price, but you ever seen that 2 fumbles on 2 consecutive kickoffs?
I've seen that happen before. I think he was trying to overcompensate for the first fumble, and just kind of made a bad decision. But he cares so much. You know, he's an individual that really cares, and I just told him to just go back in there and just do it one play at a time, and that's what he did. I took him out to settle him down a little bit, then I put him right back in there because I believe in him. And I never lose confidence because a kid makes a mistake. But I wanted to settle him down a little bit, then get him back in there, and he responded. And that's what people do. When we talked about mental toughness was our culture pillar for this week, and we talk about having grit, resiliency, and just having that and being able to persevere. And those kids were able to do that, and he was able to do that. He showed that. To me, that was the mental toughness piece of it, and he stepped up and responded in the right way.
And the Rams, as we said, were down 13-0 after those first 2 fumbles and that muff by Price. But what does that say for the Rams? You got to be proud of them to come back. You know, I mean, there's still a lot of time left after the first 2 minutes being down 13-0. But they came right back and tied them up, and then really were never headed after that.
Well, the kids never panicked, and it was early in the game. They didn't panic. They just kind of stayed the course. But that, once again, that's the mental toughness piece of it. And we talked about that. There's going to be some good things happen, some bad things happen. How are we going to respond? And I thought they responded in the way that they should respond and that we want them to respond. And we want to face more of that as we go through the season. And the way they responded tonight and just kind of didn't panic under that situation, and really the teammates poured into Jason. And which means like we're going to celebrate each other's success, and we're going to be there for each other when we have setbacks, and that showed tonight during that early situation in the game.
And a good showing on both sides of the ball. The Rams led at the half, 55-13. Carson Rogers, Mr. Efficiency, we're calling him Dr. Rogers because he was surgically carving up the Lions defense. And then, of course, on offense, Ernie Flash Caesar, number 3 this year now, but number 1 in everybody's running back book, 6 touchdowns. And we were talking with Coach before we started filming the show, if he was aware that those 6 touchdowns rushing, which gives Caesar now 21 in the season, but those 6 in one game, that tied 3 years ago, almost October 23rd to the date in 1921, Clint Epperson. And I remember that game because they did it here over at Farrington in Fort Worth. That was the record. So he tied the record, but you were unaware that he had tied the record then of 6 touchdowns.
I was unaware, and I wish someone would let us know that. And hopefully he has some more opportunities in the season to do that. But being up that much, I'm really cautious about trying to get kids out of the game, play some more kids, rest my starters, make sure they stay healthy, and get some younger kids in there that doesn't have the experience to get them in there playing. And we were able to do that because of the score of the last 3 games that we played. We were able to get a lot of kids some reps and get them some experience that they need. And we don't play a lot of kids, but then when we have an opportunity to play some more kids, we want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of these Rams big wins, 80-0 over NAU a few weeks back, and then a couple weeks ago it was ABC 77-0. Not a shutout today, but still 76-19. So that's got to feel good, as you said, for the players. I mean, Cole Francis at quarterback, but how about Luke Brown? You got him in there. I didn't even know we knew Cade Gordon, I should say, was the 3rd quarterback, but we didn't know anything about Luke Brown, but he looked pretty darn good, too.
Yeah, he did a good job, and the kids were excited for him on the sideline. And once again, it just goes back to I talked to them about pouring into each other and celebrating each other's success, and they were doing that. When the defense was done making their corrections or the offense was done making their correction, they were up cheering for each other and pulling for each other. And so when Luke went out there, the kids were all excited to see him doing some things out there. So to me, that does me, makes me happy to see those kids pouring in each other like that and celebrating each other's success.
At halftime, do you say anything to the team when they're up big like you were today, 55-13? Do you say anything to like the second and third string guys, say, hey, your time is coming now, or just kind of stay away from that?
No, we stay away from that. The thing I talk about is not being complacent. Keep our foot on the pedal, keep going, and just keep playing and continue to execute. And I think the kids kind of know if we continue to score that they're going to get in the game. But I want our guys to understand, just because we don't want to get complacent and get lazy and not execute and be lazy with our eyes and not catch balls and not make blocking mistakes, not communicate. And to me, that's another form of mental toughness when you're up like that you stay consistent about how you play regardless of what the situation is.
Now, 503 total yards. It's not getting boring by any means, but boy, it's almost like the average, 503 total yards. So that's a lot to do with the great Fran Johnson, your offensive coordinator, right?
Well, Fran's doing a great job, and like I said, Carson's doing an unbelievable job of making great decisions with the football. The receivers doing a great job of catching it downfield, making it happen, scoring some touchdowns after they catch the ball. And then Ernie's doing a great job, but it really comes down to our offensive line. Those guys are doing a heck of a job of getting better, communicating every week, and they're really starting to take on their own personality, form their own personality, who they are as a group. And it always starts there, because if you can't protect them, if you can't block them for the run, it doesn't matter. And those guys have gotten better every week.
If they reach their peak, the offensive line, I mean, like we've talked about before on First and 10 and other post-game shows with Coach Sherrod, that it's a new revamped offensive line. A couple of them along the line, were backups last year. But when is the point where they really start to gel, or how much more can they improve?
I think there's a lot more they can improve on. I just think that the sky's the limit for those guys. I don't think they've reached the peak yet. And you see a lot of young kids that haven't played before. Like I said, there were a lot of backups last year. So they're learning. They're still learning on different schemes, different things, and movement stuff that happens to them. So they're still learning. But it's good when you have guys in there that have played, that can help them and really keep them together. And that's what it really comes down to. Like I said, Fran has done a great job with the front, along with Colton Ryan, who's done a great job with it, doing the front line and helping us there.
The other side of the ball, it was 197 yards. The Rams held the Lions to. We had a number of players to choose from. First, I want to talk about Arian Bott, who was our player of the game. He had big old Arian, 3 total tackles, a sack for 7 yards, 1.5 total TFLs, I should say, total tackles for loss for 7 yards, and then a big breakup. But it seemed like he was all over the field more than those numbers would say.
Well, we did some things up front, movement-wise, that kind of sprung him free. But you're talking about another young man, again, that's really bought in, that cares a lot, that's really, this is really important to him. And football is really important to him. So he's one of those guys that we always count on just to be that leader for us. He's one of our defensive captains, and I just believe in him so much that he's always going to be ready to play. And I'm happy that he had the night he had, because he was in a position to make some plays, and we needed him to do those things tonight, and he did a great job.
We talked about in the last First and 10 show about some more takeaways. You requested that, and they sure in the heck provided that. No fumble recoveries. There was a forced fumble, I think, in there somewhere, but the 3 picks, Javari Sanders for a touchdown, Billy Sanford, and Jaden Jones, and so they got what you wanted there. What about Billy Sanford? I noticed, I pointed him out a couple times tonight. I noticed the last couple games that we've done, he's really starting to come around.
Yeah, he's working on learning how to be consistent. Alignments, assignments, eyes, those things are important. He should have had 2 interceptions. He dropped that
That's
one.
Right, yeah.
But I'm happy that he at least was in a position to make a play. And now we just need to finish it off. And then he came back and he finished it off and made the play. So I'm really happy with the progress he's making. but he's just continued to learn how to be consistent on the football field with his eyes and assignments and alignments and stuff. And I think if he continues to work, he'll continue to get better.
Keith Houston's defense, 9 sacks, 17 TFLs. He's a first-year coach coming in along with Coach Sherrod this year. So how much better can he get on defense as a coach?
Well, Keith is learning the defense and really starting to make it his own. And I thought he called a really good game and they had a really good plan put together tonight. So I'm really, really happy with that and really got the kids ready to play. Because to me, scheme is scheme, but you really need to get your players to buy in and be excited about it. And he's done a really good job of getting those kids to buy in and be excited about playing football. And so I'm extremely happy and blessed to have him on our staff and running the defense. And he's done a great job all year of just preparing these guys and getting them ready to play. So I think they're starting to take on his personality, who he is, and the grit that he has, and how he plays, and how focused he is, and all those things matter about when you come to practice. Is like, you're here. This is where we need your attention, and that's really been him. He's really kind of got those guys going there.
Rams off to a historic 6-0 start. Now they're back out on the road. Next week it'll be Wayland Baptist, who had the week off last week. The week before they beat Nelson 27-7. How do you see Wayland Baptist, the next opponent?
They're a good ball club. They score a lot of points on offense. They do enough stuff to make you defend every area of the field. And we have to do a great job of stopping the run there. I think they do a great job there. And they have a talented quarterback, a talented running back, and a very talented receiver. So we'll have our workforce cut out for us on defense. Offensively, they're playing and running around to the football over there on that side of the ball as well. So, but we have to focus on what we do and focus on the things that we can control. And we can control our effort, how we prepare, how we get ready for this ball game, and then how we execute. So tonight we're going to enjoy it, but tomorrow we'll come back and we'll have a good weight section for all the kids, and then meet on this past game, put it to bed. But then we'll go out and practice and work on any corrections and install some new things and work on special teams again for about 28-30 minutes, and really just work on that. We need to continue to keep growing in our special teams. I thought our kickoff coverage really good job tonight.
Yes.
And I'm really proud of the way they responded from early in the season to now. They've gotten better. Michael Rosa has done a extremely good job with those guys. And then I'm proud of our gunners on the punt team. Paul Summers went down there and did a heck of a job and caused a fumble. And I challenged those guys. I told them today we need more out of them. We need them to go down there and cover and make a play. And he did. So I'm really proud of how these kids respond when you challenge them.
Right.
And to me, that's just show maturity of growing up and becoming a better football player, becoming a man.
Yeah, I noticed during the game, too, you guys were just quick to the ball, as you mentioned the special teams, but also on the defense. It seems like, and I don't know if it was better or more increased quickness, but it seems like they've just, and I don't know if it was just because maybe the offense was that slow that they faced tonight, but just the quickness that they, go to the ball. They fly to the ball. They're like magnets to the ball. So is that something you get by practicing a lot, or is that just like natural athletic ability?
No, we practice running to the football. That's something that we do every practice. We practice on running to the football, relentless pursuit, and been reckless with our bodies. And we want guys throwing their bodies around and running to the football. If you miss, I'm hoping there's 10 other guys right there to help you, to back you up. And we work on that constantly every day. That's Tuesday, Wednesday that we're working on. And if it's not right, we'll start it over and do it again. And so the kids know how important it is that they show up on film running to the football.
And Coach talked about Wayland Baptist, which is the next opponent. They have at quarterback Davian Guajardo, and then Damon Ford is their running back. They're the two top players on offense. Is there anybody you look at when you're watching tape? Not only you're watching, their top players like their quarterback and their running back for WBU, but is there anybody else that you look at to maybe keep an eye on that you wouldn't really think that would be dangerous as far as an offensive player goes?
Well, I always look at all their players. You always have the guys that are kind of, making the headlines and have the stats, but they're always just like us, we got some backup guys that come in and relieve guys that are actually starting to show up on film and that you count on that can do a good job. So they're no different. They'll have some guys that are starting to come on and be some really good football players, and we just kind of take care of us and who their guys are. They're going to get the ball to their guys. They're going to give it to them. They're going to try to make some plays. They are going to make some plays. We just have to respond in the right way. And I believe like tonight we should respond tonight, and we'll respond next week.
Who do you have to keep an eye on the other side of the ball for WBU on defense?
Well, I kind of really just look at the whole defense of them just running around to the football. They do a great job. I think they got a good linebacker there that plays well for them, and their defensive line is solid. And so we'll have our work. This will be a good challenge for our offensive line. We're talking about getting better. This will be a good challenge for them.
Isaiah Brooks and Donovan Henry are their two guys, and then head coach Marcos Hinojosa. What do you know about Marcos, and what kind of coach does he look like?
Well, I know he's been there for a while, and I think he was a high school coach, if I'm not mistaken, out there at one time in West Texas. So has a lot of good experience, and his staff is experienced. He's got a former high school head coach calling his offensive plays now, and so they've got some experience out there just like we do. And so it should be a really good game of two good teams that are well coached.
Coach, well, we'll go get them. Hopefully you'll go get them next week, and it'll be 7-0, historic start, as we said. Each week now since 4-0, each week that the Rams win at the beginning of the season is historic. So let's do the Rams up for the Rams next week as they head to Wayland Baptist. Coach, congrats on the win tonight. Good luck next week.
I appreciate it. Rams up.
Rams up. For Coach Sherrod, for Kenneth Flowers, Ricky Dotson, and James McBride, Jimmy the St. Christopher saying, adios, amigos and amiguettes. Go Rams. Rams up.